Hello, everyone. This is Zayami Eccles-Irwin from FilmFestivalCircuit.com and the director of the Portland Comedy Film Festival. Right now, we are gearing up for our Winter 2026 event, which is going to take place on February 1st at the beautiful historic Clinton Street Theater in Portland, Oregon. And in preparation for our event, we are talking with some of our participating filmmakers. Today, we're talking with Monica Graves, who is the writer, director, producer, and star of That's Fitting. Monica, thank you so much for meeting with me today.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
So that's a lot of hats to wear for one film, but the film is it's excellent, it's polished, and you really dominate with an excellent performance. Tell me, what was the inspiration behind this project?
So it's kind of odd, actually. I wasn't necessarily inspired to write a wedding story about COVID, but I had a friend, or have a friend, who lives in Idaho, who's also an actor. And the initial thought was she has a camera similar to mine. And I was like, let's do an ultra short, like 3 minutes. It'll cost us no money. You'll film in Idaho. I'll film in Oregon.
Totally.
We'll have a remote element. And then I started thinking, what else do I have access to? And I have friends with a restaurant and a bakery and a bridal shop. So I just wrote it from a series of prompts. So that it needed to be her and I acting, a remote element, and then utilizing the places around me. And we came up with something that was much longer than 3 minutes.
Yes. Oh, very cool. Well, actually, I love that, especially as an independent film lens to purely use the stuff that's around you and using that to influence your script. I think that's really interesting. But then, so tell me a little bit about the writing process, taking this from a 3-minute prompted short to a much more developed, longer work.
Yeah. So I never wrote like a 3 minute version, right? But I just
Hmm.
sat down and thought, these are the prompts, and started writing. And as a writer, I guess I always just kind of try to follow the story wherever it leads.
Okay, totally.
And so my initial goal was not to go over 12 minutes. And then we ended up being at, I think before the credits, it's like 27 minutes. Um, and so I just followed the story where it led. Then we had a table read, took some feedback from that. And
Totally.
yeah.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, I've seen several films that are reflecting on the COVID period, but I think this is the first one I've seen that takes you through that transition from 2020 to the shutdown, and actually that surprise, the sort of the difference on who's watching the news, who's a little bit less aware, and it really it took me right back. And so actually, the core of this film is a comedy, but there's I don't know, it's there's some emotional, heavier stuff in there. What was your kind of opinions on that, or thoughts on it while writing?
So I do think for me, I'm someone who laughs in difficult situations. I think I find comedy is a relief.
Okay.
And so, I told you the things I had available, and that kind of lent itself to wedding as being part of it.
Right.
And I actually had a daughter that got married in 2020
Oh, wow. Okay.
at our house. So I had somewhat experienced the um having to deal with those changes of a wedding. And so many people had to do that for so many things. And I think when there's big trauma in the world, maybe the tendency is to write about the big trauma, but the truth is we all experience it in very personal ways, whether it's I can't go to my grandma's funeral, or I had some experiences with my father dying in the hospital where he was unresponsive for 2 weeks and I couldn't go see him.
Man.
And so I think seeing those intricacies of how different people deal with that too, because the two sisters have a very different
Right.
approach, and both are okay because we all have to cope with trauma in different ways. And I think comedy helps us with that.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, it's interesting. You're touching on the themes of the world crumbling around you, but you do posit an idea of redemption, which is just keeping your community together, relying on your friends for support, and that's kind of delivered as the positive conclusion of this. Tell me a little bit about producing remotely. That's got to be
So
challenging.
I will say, obviously there is a remote element to it because we have, FaceTime and stuff showing these
Right.
people are remote. And some of that we recorded on a screen remotely. But as the project developed, Brooke and I did not film this ourselves. There's a great cinematographer in Portland, Gary Knowlton, who came on and he shot it. And we did travel out to Idaho to shoot Brooke's end
Okay.
of things. So that way we had the same cinematographer, because as I said, it grew into much more than what
Right.
we
Okay.
initially
Totally.
planned. Yeah.
Okay. Well, so just the natural flow of the story, you want to explore it, and it kind of necessitated a little bit more of the on the ground direct filming. tell me a little bit about acting in a thing that you're directing and writing. How
Yeah.
much of that is your own character? How much is that is just a fictional persona? What's that process like?
Yeah. So this is the first time I've tried that. And that was one of the things that I wanted to do here because I actually have a filmmaking degree, but at this point I mostly am an actor. And
Okay,
so but I've always wanted to see like can I wear both hats? And because I write a lot and you write and it's like, well, I want to act, but then who's gonna
right,
direct, right?
totally.
And so for me, like I love quirky characters like this. I will say as a writer, I always write some of myself into whatever the character is for me. Um I mean this character is not me. Yes. But there are things that it's humors I think that I understand and that I
Okay,
find to be funny and quirks that I find to be funny and fun to play. So I don't know. I think
totally.
we planned it out really well. I'm someone that likes to plan things to a T, so it made it where that I was able just to make sure everything was in line, sit down and act, and just switch hats quickly. Hopefully, it worked.
Interesting. Absolutely. And I mean, I think you touched on unbelievably important facet, especially for independent stuff, is the pre-production. Focus on pre-production. And
Yes.
I mean, if you get that squared away, you can show up on set and your mind has more room to travel. You can explore maybe different takes, maybe some improv. And that's something that is actually so difficult if you're trying to focus on the basic principles of what you're trying to get across.
Yeah. Yeah. That was really important to me. And always is like really to have things planned out to the T so that there was that freedom to be creative in the moment.
Totally. Yeah. Excellent. Excellent takeaway. Well, tell me on that. What other things did you learn here? I mean, you have a background in acting and filming. So, what was it like putting it all together as a sort of solo directed and starred project?
Gosh, that sounds like I feel like I don't know. I felt that it went well. I didn't know what to expect because it was my first time doing this. One thing, and this is something I've learned in the past, is to trust my instincts and my gut. Like I've done the
Mhm.
work, and so if I'm on set and a question arises, sometimes if I don't immediately know the answer to the question, but like or the why to the answer, I will defer to people around me that aren't as close to the creative meaning
Right.
behind it. And
Okay.
so this and other have showed me like in the heat of the moment, trust your gut, trust what you planned, and don't defer to somebody who didn't write or didn't. And not that there was any like big problems in this, but
Right.
just little things. I'm like, okay, it's okay to trust myself and not think someone else knows better, and okay to be
Totally.
like, I wrote it, and I think it's going to be like this.
Okay, yeah. So this could be, I mean, totally on set. There's always going to be little questions and things arising, not necessarily problems, but is this technical things, sort of written things, character things, just or all sorts of stuff?
Yeah, like lots of different things. Or maybe, at the last moment we're thinking about changing something. And I'm always open to change. But I mean, I guess more like so when you say all those titles, director, writer, whatever,
Right.
I don't want to be that person that's like, I know it all. And
Right.
so not afraid of on set, not afraid of being a know-it-all on set and being able to say, well, actually, I think it should be this way because that's how I wrote it. And knowing that that's okay for me to say, that doesn't mean
Right. Well,
does that make sense?
it's an important nuance to cut because I mean, you have to rely on your team. You have to let it
Yes.
be a summation of people's skills and creativity. That's a film, but also you don't want to compromise your vision. You wrote this. You have a picture in mind, and I mean, it's not easy. There's no right answer on how to do
Yeah.
that, but it sounds like you got to get a good insight into navigating that process, and that's super valuable.
Yeah.
Well, tell me, what are you working on next? You must have some more projects.
I
No one
do.
stops
I
when they
do.
get started.
Um, I actually am just finishing up a feature film,
Oh,
which is a quirky comedy that I'm hoping to film here in Oregon next winter. So
okay. So this is something that you've all finished writing.
just finishing up
Okay.
writing. Yes.
Okay. And what are you? Do you think you'll act in it as well?
Yeah. I
Okay.
don't know if I'll direct it, but yeah, I do plan to act in it. So
Very cool. And so yeah, quirky comedy. And is this going to be your first feature?
yes, it would be my first feature. Well,
Very
not
cool.
acting,
But for you
like
to
a
create.
script. It would be my first feature script to have come
Okay.
to
Well,
fruition.
that's super exciting. I'd love to hear more about that and see some trailers and sneak peeks when you get around to that.
Yeah.
Well, tell me, is there anything else you'd like to add about That's Fitting?
No, I mean, I'm just really thankful for all the people that took time to be a part of it. We're excited that it's playing at a festival in Portland since we filmed it in Oregon, and thankful to be here talking to you today.
Excellent. Well, Monica, thank you so much. I really enjoyed this. It's such a solid piece and
You.
operates on some multiple layers, and I'm excited to play it on February 1st at the Portland Comedy Film Festival. So thank you so much for talking. I will see you at the festival.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
Take care.